Hello, Zuko here. What's up, Chris?
Dante, how are you doing?
I mean, it's after hours, opening night at FanX, Salt Lake City.
I think this is called FanX After Dark.
FanX After Dark. How are you doing?
I'm doing so well. I'm excited to have you here. Thank you for letting me come here on stage and talk with you for a few moments. You have such a dedicated following, and you have shaped our lives so much. One more time, guys. Give a huge round of applause for Dante.
I mean, I'm so flattered. It's good to be here. It's good to be back in Salt Lake City. It's really just, it's my honor to kind of hang out with you guys.
We love you here, and I've been with you at multiple different cons. We see you in Indianapolis, we've seen you at Tampa, everywhere. But man, the following here, they really adore you here in Salt Lake City.
I got love for Utah. Of course, I've been here to the Sundance Film Festival several times for many years. When they were filming TV shows out here, I spent time out here doing Touched by an Angel.
Okay.
Promised Land. I've spent time doing Promised Land. So I got love for Salt Lake City. Come on.
You guys don't know this, but when he came in, he gave me a hug. I have to be honest with you, he smells amazing, guys. It's true. It's very true. It's very true. Dante, we have so many people who want to ask you questions. Do you mind if we jump right into it?
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right.
Hi, I'm Joshua and I have one beautiful question for you. What is your most favorite character on Avatar?
My favorite character in Avatar?
That would be correct.
Besides Zuko? I mean, I love all the characters in Avatar, but I think there's a character that I probably would have wanted to play if I didn't play Zuko, and he's kind of controversial. I love Jet.
I agree with you. I love him.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Next question.
Hi, I was just wondering, so whether it's lighthearted, funny, emotional, what was your favorite moment in Zuko's story arc?
I mean, there's so many great moments, but it really goes back to the relationship with Zuko and Uncle Iroh. I mean, Zuko is just heartbroken through the whole show with his relationship with his father, and when he realizes he had a father the whole time, it's just not the father that he was born with, but his uncle was his father the whole time. And so just the ups and downs of that relationship, and getting to play that role with Mako originally, and then with Greg Baldwin. Mako, the original actor who played Uncle Iroh, played my uncle or my father 3-4 times throughout my career. I know him since I was 12. And Mako is a very prolific Asian-American actor, nominated for an Oscar in Sam Pebbles. He created a theater company called East West Players, which is the longest-running theater company of people of color in America. Yes, and I grew up in that theater company. I did plays there. I wrote plays there. And so being able to do these characters with him is really, really special. I think it comes out in the scenes that we do together. And then sadly, he passed away during book 2. And we honor him, we honored him in The Tales of Ba Sing Se, which really brings a tear to my eye every time I watch the show. And so when I think about my favorite moments is really just sharing the show with Mako, who was really an Uncle Iroh to me in my life, for real. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm obviously a really big Zuko fan. The scene with the lightning is one of my favorites. It's absolutely iconic in my opinion. Was that scene intense for you to perform, and were there any other scenes that were particularly intense or, hard for you to perform?
I mean, that scene, I do remember doing that scene. I was shooting Take the Lead at the time in Toronto. I don't know if you guys saw a dance movie I did called Take the Lead. Yeah, shout out to Take the Lead. And I remember I was away from the rest of the crew, and we were doing that. So me and the legendary voice director, Andrea Romano was directing me through this scene, and I was just alone. And I remember watching some of the segments they drew. It's just one of those moments where, as actors or as just people, like, we're mad at a lot of things, and in life, we don't really give ourselves a permission to be mad all the time because we can't, because we'd be crazy people running around yelling at each other. But the one of the fortunate things and one of the just luxuries we have as actors is we get these moments where we give ourselves permission to just feel it, go there, be mad. We have tons of things to be mad about, and that scene is so. I just watched it recently for my podcast, Braving the Elements, and it's shout out to Janet Varney and Braving the Elements. We're having a great time rewatching the show and reliving it, but it's such a beautiful scene because it's really heartbreaking, and he's yelling at the wind. He's yelling at the wind and the lightning, and you can feel his anger as a character, at everything that he can't even get that right, But then it's also as useless as yelling at the wind. Like you see it now as a grown person, or someone through the series, like, Zuko, you're just yelling at the wind, just being mad by yourself. But we have to go through that. That's the process of healing. And so I love that scene too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Hello, Noah here.
Hi, Noah.
So my question is, in your opinion, which episode of Avatar really held the most character development for Zuko?
That's a good, you guys know more than I do. I'm learning right now in Braving the Elements and really going through. This is my first time actually watching the whole series in chronological order. Of course, I've seen all the episodes at one time or another, and of course, I was there when we did it. I remember, I was like, we saved the world. I know we did. I was there. But to watch it all these years later and to really be more of just a fan watching it and living and taking the adventure, we're in the middle of book 2. We just got through the Tales of Ba Sing Se, and so a lot of his stuff, he hasn't really learned a lot yet. He's hanging out in the T-bar with Uncle Iroh, not very happy about it. He did go on a date with a cute girl. What happened to Jen, you guys? Where's Jen at? Has anybody seen Jen? Is she still in Ba Sing Se? I would like to think Zuko went back to go look for her, just to say, hey, what have you been up to all these years? But as far as when for me, I'm watching the show, so I can't maybe not answer you fully because I'm still watching the show in a new space and time. But for me, as an actor, when I first started understanding who Zuko was, is when I found out how he got a scar. When I found out his father scarred him, and for all the reasons why he did at that time, talking out in the War Council and whatnot, I started understanding, he's not the villain. He's just an abused kid, and he's trying to get through it. That's when, for me as an actor, I started piecing together what might happen in the future for this guy if he can get through it.
Thank you. The thing that you have to realize, Dante's incredibly talented. I'm going to tell a quick story about you, but
Go, Chris, go.
Voice actors, they have to emote every emotion through their voice. They're not on camera. They can't use their face. They can't use their arms. They can't use eyebrows. It all comes through their voice, and you create such an amazing character through your voice. It's absolutely amazing. But give him a round of applause for that. It's amazing. Now,
and I want to say I share the performance with all the brilliant animators for sure.
So Dante's been coming to FanX. You've been coming here for quite a while. We love you here. I have to tell you one of my favorite stories. We used to, several years ago, they had a party, the after hours party, and they'd have the music and dancing.
After hours.
After hours party. And I was emceeing that, and Dante is actually a very accomplished DJ. Did you guys know that? And he plays music. At the party, he's like, dude, I'm going to go up there and do some songs. And so I announced him. I'm like, Dante. The crowd just went totally quiet. And then all of a sudden, I realized it was him. It went nuts. You couldn't hear anything. They could have played any music. We couldn't hear it because the people were just cheering for him. It's so fun to see.
We need to bring the DJ party back one year. Y'all can come. We get turned up Fire Nation style,
Yeah. Absolutely. All All right, next question.
Hi. Sorry, I'm very shaky. I just wanted to know, when you got the role as General Iroh, what was that like for you?
That was weird. No, it wasn't strange. It was just like, so Mike and Brian, the creators of Avatar, they really are in tune with the fan base, and they love the fan base, and they know that Zuko became a really special character for the whole fan base. And so when they were doing Korra, they really wanted to give like an Easter egg or a nod back to the community that they created. And so they talked about bringing me back in for the new show, and we were kind of figuring out what to do. And then when this character came up, they're like, we want you to do, first of all, they want you to play Uncle Iroh II. General Iroh II, which was a really heartfelt thing for all of us, because Uncle Iroh and General Iroh is Mako. And for us, it's not just a character, it was an acknowledgement and just an honoring of a dear friend of all of ours. And so I was on board 100%. And then they showed me the picture of this very tall and dapper general of the Fire Nation. And then we started trying to figure out what he sounds like, and I'm like, if you're the people that, you guys know my voice acting, I mean, I come from on-screen, I continue to do on-screen acting, and I do voice acting, but I have one voice. Jake Long is Zuko in New York. But I was trying to do different things because my guy was so big, and so he looked like Travis Willingham. I'm like, this guy's Travis Willingham. Y'all want to call Travis up? What's going on? And they're like, okay. And I'm like doing like a deeper voice, and doing like a rougher voice. They're like a little lower, higher, here, there, then up, right there. That's good. I'm like, right here? Yeah, right there. Do it like that. I'm like this. This is me again. And then we did it. I'm like, this is so weird. This is so weird. And then when it came out, I think the first episode, General Iroh comes in. He has like one line. They're like, this stuff is happening. He's like, tell them I'll be there. And then, at this point, we just had Twitter, and my Twitter blew up. It was like, boom. It was just crazy. I was like, oh, Mike and Brian did it again. That's crazy.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, so I was just wondering, at what point did you realize that Avatar: The Last Airbender was going to be as big of a deal as it turned out to be? Like, did you think going into it that this was going to turn into a huge multi-show franchise?
No, I didn't think it was even going to make it on air. Not that it was gonna, this is the deal, you guys. So, I mean, I've been acting a long time, and sometimes the longer you're around, the more you know. The more you know, you don't know. But we know, we know. We do tons of pilots and TV shows, and we know how it works, right? And so, I was actually me and Nate Whitman were doing American Dragon Jake Long at the time for Disney. And then, shout out to Jake Long, dragging up. And so they sent me this script and said, you got to go to Nickelodeon, and because they wanted you for this other show. And then I go to Nickelodeon, and especially at this time, it's in Burbank, California, and they do a lot of Cartoon Networks up there, Nickelodeon's all kind of right by each other. And at that time especially, Nickelodeon's this big white building with green Double Dare slime painted on it, on the roof, through the whole building, right, the whole building. And it has the big letters, orange letters, Nickelodeon. And then you walk through these big green gates, and then there's massive, just portraits, 20-foot portraits, paintings of SpongeBob, cat, dog, and you're like, okay, this is cool, this is Nickelodeon, right? And then they give you a script that's anime-inspired epic tale of what is this? They handed me the thing, I'm like, this is not Disney XD, where are we at? And then they got this character, he has a ponytail. He's bald with a ponytail. He has a big scar on his face. His name is Zuko. I think I walked in the room, and when I met Mike and Brian the first time, I'm like, it's like Zuko, like Danny Zuko? Like, what are we talking about? And so I thought there's no way that this is going to get on the air for Nickelodeon, because this is not Nickelodeon in any way, shape, or form. And then we did the whole thing, and I had no clue. And we didn't even have internet back in those. I mean, we had internet, but we didn't have social media. We had Twitter didn't exist when we first started doing Facebook. No one had Facebook. We were just doing a show. And then little things started happening. Like the show was coming out. I was shooting this movie with like Antonio Banderas and one of the other actors on the set is like an adult. And he was like, I kept leaving the set every like Thursday. And even Antonio Banderas was like, where are you going, Dante? I'm like, I'm going to do this cartoon for Nickelodeon. He's like, oh, he looked at me. Oh, you're a voice actor too. I said, what? He goes, I'm also a voice actor. And I looked at him, I said, you're Puss in Boots. I know who you are. You're Puss, Antonio, you're Puss in Boots. I know you're a voice actor. I mean, you're a movie star, but you happen to also be Puss in Boots. And then this other actor just lost his mind he's like, you're the prince? You're the prince? I'm like, yeah. And he's like 23 years old. I'm like, how come you know this cartoon on Disney? And then I ran into Jason Isaacs, shout out to Jason Isaacs, who played General Zhao in book 1, and very evil character. And of course, Lucius Malfoy, of course. Yeah. And he's a great guy, and I remember running to him at Sundance Film Festival here in Utah, and it's snowing, and we're in the streets, and we bump into each other. He's like, Dante, man, like, that cartoon. I'm like, I know, because of that cartoon we did. I was like, I know, it's weird, right? Because I know everyone's talking about that. We're there for movies. We're there for movies we shot. He's like, everyone's talking about this cartoon we did. Is that crazy? I'm like, it's weird because I thought it was for like 12-year-olds. So, we don't know. I didn't know. If I knew, I was telling someone when we were hanging out earlier today, if I knew how big and how amazing and how much impact this show was going to have on the world, I would have saved every script that we worked on that had all my notes and had all the notes of the director and all, because in those days they would just, like I said, we didn't really have email. They just FedEx you a script every week, and you do all your notes, do your work, you do your whole session, do your work, and then we walk out the room, and then we just throw it in the trash. You're like, I should have kept all those scripts. But so I didn't know. We didn't know. It's great to live life. Sometimes don't know so much. Leave room to be surprised. And every now and then, if you're not like, I think I'm in over my head, chances are you ain't really living life.
Excellent. Yes. Wonderful. Go ahead, next question.
Okay, hi. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the intensity question from earlier, but a few particular scenes and episodes in general made me personally very emotional. And one of those scenes was from the beach when Zuko blows up after Azula asks him, well, who are you angry at? And he says, I'm angry at myself. And I personally connected with that, and I know a lot of other people did due to individual reasons in their own lives, but I was wondering if that was a scene that you felt personally connected to, or if there was a scene that you felt more connected to.
No, that's definitely a good one. I mean, I think that's one of the scenes, and that's a really important scene. I think that why Zuko's so beloved by people, because he's flawed, and he doesn't know. The biggest lesson that Zuko taught me in life is don't know so much. Like, I thought I knew. I thought I was going to be the villain. You're not the villain. I thought this show's never going to make it on air or ever be a hit. It's not even Nickelodeon. It becomes one of Nickelodeon's biggest hits ever and so impactful. As an actor, sometimes these roles get to teach you things in life. And that scene, he's mad at himself. We've all been there. Some of us are there right now, When it comes down to it, it is about us and our feelings and who we are, and we want to blame it on the world or blame it on your dad or blame it on your mom or blame it on your sister or your best friends, but you're mad at yourself. You're mad at yourself. And so I think us seeing Zuko kind of like fail so much, but then ultimately get redeemed is so beautiful, because I think ultimately we all want to be redeemed for something, to someone.
Excellent. It's so true.
Hello, what's your name?
Alex.
What's up, Alex?
So one of my questions was like, what was your funniest story when you were like, speaking like in Avatar? Like, what was your funniest story?
My funniest story?
Yeah.
I mean, shooting the show, it was kind of funny to me, but ironically funny when I found out that Mark Hamill played my dad. Because Alex, nobody warned me. No one said anything. Our director, Andrea Ramon, I walk into the session, right? And it's in Burbank at the studio, and it was later in the day. It was like winter. It was dark. It was like already dark when I walked in, and it was like rainy outside. It was rainy outside for sure. And I walk in the studio, and the director goes, Dante, oh, it's great. It's like a lot you and Ozai's today, so it's just you two, and Mark's playing your dad. I said, oh, great, sure, Mark, whoever that is. Like, whatever, Andrea Romano. And then the door opens. By itself, I think. And there's a man standing there in all black. And it's foggy. It's like the fog. And then I look, and then I'm a Star Wars fan. That's the original fandom for many of us, me included. And I'm looking over there, and I'm like, in my heart, I'm like, that's Mark Hamill. But I'm professional. He floats in the room on the mist. And then he gets to the mic, and then we just do these scenes, right? And when I first met, we're doing these like Agni Kai scenes. We're yelling at each other. We're having a fight. He's scarring me, right? There's all kinds of stuff we're doing. I'm yelling out lines like, no, Father, no! And we're going hard. I mean, Mark Hamill is a brilliant, he's the Joker, he's everything, right? He's so phenomenal. And then we're done with the fight scene, and we're done with the day, and then, Mark just kind of like, he like bows to me a little bit, then he floats away on the mist. And then I just kind of crumple into the seat, and Andrea was like, are you good, Dante? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. But it was like probably one of the most surreal moments in my life, because I realized I just did the Luke and Vader scene with Mark Hamill. Thank you, Alex.
Hi, my name's Dakota.
Hi.
Zuko's character has always been a huge, has had a big impact on me as somebody who's had to, have that self-actualization and, realize that, you can be more than the family that you're born into and things. So I was wondering if there was ever, a specific part of Zuko's storyline that really resonated with you, and, bonus points if it made you tear up when you saw the script.
I mean, there's so many, because I come from a big family. I have a sister. We've had our ups and downs. That resonates with me, and I still, in my heart of hearts, I feel like I still want Azula to get redeemed someday, Again, the stuff with family, Uncle Iroh, all that stuff really, really redeemed. I really felt all that stuff. So it just all worked out. Plus, the relationship when you work with these guys, Jack, DeSena, May Whitman, we've known each other for so many years, and working with them, seeing little Jessie Flower grow up in front of our eyes, and so. Part of it is what's written. A lot of it's what's written. And then the other thing, all the magic in between, is just the time you spend with your other actors and the bonds you make, and geeking out on our stories and what could be. And so when I look back now and I watch it as a fan, I really love the show, taking the adventure with the gang. But I also, for me as an actor, really is like sifting through old photo albums, and just remembering old friends and moments in the booth, and some that passed away, and some you owe a phone call to or a text to, and gotta set up dinner because Jack just had a kid. We gotta go see the kid, and so it's just family like that. So I'm really happy to be part of the Avatar family. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Heather. So somebody took my question, and then my backup question, and then my backup question. So here is about my fourth
How
question.
you doing, Heather?
Worth it. So, I was actually wondering if, as a professional actor, is there anything in Avatar, or in anything, I guess, but in Avatar specifically, that you would like to do differently, and why?
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to, I'm mainly involved with the first Avatar, The Last Airbender, the first series, and then Korra goes on, and there's going to be several things coming out, and there's the whole universe that's happening, Avatar-verse, which we all can't wait to see what Mike and Brian do. But as far as my part in the first story, I don't think we can do anything different, even though we look back and I talked to Mike and Brian about certain things that they say it's like better or worse, more proud of, not proud of, and I'm going through it, really with like a fine-tooth comb with the podcast Braving the Elements, but it's one of those projects that are like it's like perfect in its way, Yeah, and I don't know. It's one like as actors or as filmmakers, as writers, as story, all of us in Hollywood that we go to Hollywood to be storytellers. You just want to be a part of a great story. At the end of the day, any way, shape, or form, big role, small role, you just want to be a part of a great story. And this is one of those great stories. And when people talk about the show, they talk about Breaking Bad. They talk about Avatar. They talk about the perfect shows that happened. They go, I don't know how they did it, but it was a perfect show from beginning to end. It somehow was it. So you can't go back. You can't change anything. It is what it is. Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right. I had a question, then you walked out in that jacket, and that jacket is epic. Can you tell us the story behind the jacket?
Oh, the jacket.
Excellent. You know what? I was going to say something about this. When we were in Indianapolis, we're sitting there and we were talking about this jacket. He wears this. This is his jacket all the time.
This is my jacket. It's like, especially my con jacket, because everyone gets to like rep their fandoms at cons. I'm like, I'm going to rep my fandoms too.
Yeah. Can we show them a few, like this is a very personal thing. This is his amazing jacket. Can we show them just a few of the patches and what they mean to you? Because this is amazing.
So this is like, everyone should have patch jacket. It's your patch jacket. So, first of all, Fire Nation. This is Fire Nation. That's Rough Buddy. That's the moon. On the back, you got Firebenders on the top, Lost Boys on the bottom.
We got to show, wait, Dante, we have to show this one. Right, this is important.
No Captain Hook crossed out. There's personal stuff too, like the hummingbird. The first time I kissed my girl, a hummingbird flew by, so a hummingbird for that. The worm, there's a thing called primal zodiac. You take your eastern zodiac sign, your western zodiac sign, and you put them together, and a lot of people get crazy animals, great animals, like foxes and buffalo. And I was so excited about other people's things. My girlfriend's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and then I looked at like, what are you, Dante? And I'm like, they took the Virgo and they took the rabbit, and they said, you're earthworm. And I was like so bummed, because my producing partner's a buffalo, and this other actress I was with, she was a fox, and I was like thinking Harry Potter, like, you guys are gonna go on an adventure, like Padfoot and everybody, and then I'm a worm. Like, can I go? And then I was looking through the thing, and it really had a lot of great things to say, and it was really resonating with me. And I was like, maybe I am earthworm. And then I looked at the celebrity earthworms, third name down, Dante Basco. I was like, oh no! But there's other stuff on the jacket. So I would say, always pack a knife, wear your heart on your sleeve, Patch jacket, there's more to come. You're the rabbit. That's the You're the Rabbit right there.
Yeah. You guys give a huge round of applause, because he doesn't share his patch jacket with just everybody. Excellent question. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Uncle, you're here.
Of all the characters you've played, what set of powers would you like and why?
Say that one more time.
Of all the characters you played, including voice, which powers would you like and why?
I mean, with Jake and with Zuko, fire's big. I mean, Jake can turn into a dragon. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think what powers and why.
Would you want to be able to turn into an earthworm?
Earthworm. I like to think of him as the mighty, mighty earthworm, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely.
The mighty, mighty earthworm.
Yeah.
But I think with powers, fire, I mean, even like Rufio, it's like red, and like, he's a pretty good sword fighter. There's something about me and red and fire that's happening. I'm not 100% sure what's happening, but I would go with that. I do think firebending would be awesome. I think about like Earth Kingdom. Shout out, there's a lot of Earth around here. We live on the Earth, so you guys are strong. Of course, airbenders. You're so cool. You can fly and stuff. So cute. It's great.
So cute.
So cute. The water bending is, I mean, sexy. Water bending's sexy. Shout out to the water, and they're kind people, healing people. But I mean, there's nothing sexier than fire. It's hard to control. It can destroy, for sure. And so, I mean, fire is still alluring to me. So always fire, Uncle. Fire Nation forever. Thank you. Let me ask a quick question to the audience, because I take my own polls as I travel around the world. And the poll, and it depends on where I go. I like to see where everyone's lying. I mean, we're in Salt Lake City, we're in Utah. And so I want to know how many airbenders are in the house. Air Nomads, shout out to Air Nomads. Earth Kingdom in the house. It's a lot of Earth Kingdom out here. Water Tribe in the house. Wow, Water Tribe's pretty loud. Fire Nation in the house. It's hard to say out here. But I just like to I have my own mental thing for how it works out.
I don't know if this is going to work. We'll see if we get this to work here.
I've always liked to play with fire.
Hey. I love that.
I wanted to ask what your favorite moment between Zuko and Uncle Iroh was.
I mean, when I think back, there's so many great moments. Because the most memorable moment is kind of like it's after Mako actually passed away. Because he passed away when we were just awestruck. Like we knew he was sick and he was having problems with his health and his esophagus, and then he passed away. And then the next episode, I don't know if they wrote it this way, or it just happened the way, is like when he's in prison, like he's in jail, and I'm talking to him, but there's no lines. He doesn't talk back. I'm just talking to him, and then he doesn't talk back. I was so sad. And then when Greg Baldwin came in, they put Greg in another room. And we were the whole cast is there, and we're doing the scenes, and then he starts talking, and when I'm apologizing, and I'm sorry, Uncle, and he does all those lines, and it just sounded like Mako from the grave, and we just all started crying. It was so, just emotionally, like that's like my favorite moment of him apologizing to his uncle and just beginning to like come back. But that moment in life was just so shakes you to your core kind of thing. And I just knew Mako was with us for the rest of the recordings and the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Asa.
Hi, Asa.
Hi. So I'm going to kind of take it back to when you played Rufio and Hook.
Take me back. Let's go.
Because Rufio!
Rufio.
Because, I mean, I think you were the OG bad boy that, was pretty hot, so. But my question is, if you can remember, what were your thoughts and feelings working with two big names like Dustin Hoffman and Robin Williams? What were your thoughts, feelings?
Steven Spielberg.
Steven
Spielberg.
That too, but
This is the deal,
Robin
like-
Williams.
I mean, I've been Rufio in my life longer than I haven't been Rufio. And so that's a very strange thing. So I was 15 when I did Rufio, right? And yeah, it's great. And so it's a very special thing because of those people you mentioned and the whole thing and Peter Pan and being this the magical thing of storytelling, the magical thing of Hollywood and the whole thing, right, is it's all story. And Peter Pan's not just like a movie, a new movie IP or a new franchise that we know that's really big. It's a fairy tale that's been around longer than any of us on this planet have been alive. It's going to be here longer than any of us here are. We're going to be gone. The story's going to still be wrong. And somehow, like me, like this little Filipino kid, infiltrated a fairy tale. Like it's forever canon in Peter Pan. It's crazy. People send me stuff, pictures of Peter Pan and Captain Hook and Tinkerbell and the crocodile, all cosplay, and then they send someone representing this little kid of color with tri-hawks and leather, and it's phenomenal, And so when I was on that set, I was 15, but I was a very serious young actor, and I would show up on my days off because these guys are legends, gods in our industry. I'm literally not working, and I just show up as this 15-year-old actor, and I would sit next to Steven Spielberg directing, which is great. And when I tell people, especially all the artists in the house, and I know I love coming to Comic-Cons because these are our people. It's we're the creatives, the artists. Whether you're doing it for a living or not, you have a creative heart, and that's what it's about. And when you're in the company of greatness, you should have the wherewithal to kind of just go and be there and see and look. My feeling then and still today is getting the chance to work with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman and Steven Spielberg was equivalent to having the opportunity to go sit and watch Picasso paint a stroke or Mozart conduct a symphony. That's who these guys are, who they were and who they are. So I'm on set on my days off to watch Robin Williams improv, to watch Dustin Hoffman do character work, to watch Steven Spielberg direct. I'm just sitting there. He's telling me about lenses and about lighting and about how the camera's moving. And so, I mean, they're gods. So that's how I think about it. I was a teenage kid just getting to walk with the gods. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to say this, Dante. Their greatness is amazing, and it must have rubbed off because you've developed it. You are one of the greats. He's one of the greats. You mean so much to so many of us, and you are one of the greats. Go ahead.
Dragon up.
Dragon. Yo, it's the J to the A to the K to the E. I'm the Mac Daddy Dragon of the NYC. You heard?
Anyway, what was it like working?
What's going on? What's your name?
I'm Anthony. This
What's
is
up,
not my
Anthony?
costume. I have a beast mask. Anyway,
Shout out to the X-Men.
X-Men. Anyway, what was it like working with or on American Dragon Jake Long?
I love American Dragon Jake Long. You know, Rufio and Zuko have become so iconic for different generations, and they, when you get part of these great projects, they really kind of overshadow a lot of things. But a lot of times I'll come to places and there's, big Disney fans. And so, yeah, shout out to Disney, the mouse, And someone once reminded me, hey, Dante, don't forget you have an original Disney hero. I was like, oh. that's important. And they're like, and it's the first Asian American hero. I said, what? Yeah, which was actually a new revelation to me. And I actually fought back. I mean, I actually debated back. I said, oh, well, what about Mulan? And she said, Mulan's from China. And Jake is in New York. I'm like, that's right. I forgot about that. But my feeling about Jake Long is, a lot of people will ask me the question, like, am I more like Rufio? Am I more like Zuko? And I will always answer, I'm actually Jake Long. Like, this is the difference between me and Jake. Jake is in New York, I'm LA. Jake was more of a skater, I was a break dancer. But, like, I'm Jake Long. We both can turn into dragons. So I loved it. I loved hanging out. It was really my first time doing a lot of animation, and so I learned so much. And again, I was with Mae Whitman, and so we had a great relationship through the whole thing, and she was already a young vet at that time, and so many great memories working for Disney. Also, when you work for Disney, you get free tickets to Disneyland and stuff, so that's like a great perk.
That's a nice perk.
It's a weird perk. You're like, can I call? And they take you around with the plaids and stuff, so they like make you feel extra sexy. Thank you so much.
I have to point this out. We've had multiple celebrities here on the stage. Dante, you're the only one that after every question, they clap. Every single time. The only one that's going to this. So,
thank you.
This will be our last question,
This
guys.
is our last question.
This is our last question.
What's your name?
My name is Yukacia.
Lucacia?
Yeah, after the acacia tree, but my mom can't spell, so.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. My question actually has to do a lot with your poetry. I'm actually a really huge fan of a lot of the poetry of yours that I've heard. And it having just been Zutara week, I'm a little biased. But what are some of your favorite types of poetry to like read or write? And what do you say like is your biggest inspiration behind a lot of your poetry?
Great question. I love, for people that know, I'm a poet, and actually, before I did Hook, Dead Poets Society was one of my favorite films of all time. And still is. I just rewatched it recently on my Instagram live every Monday. We have a thing called Monday Cinema Club where we just watch movies, me and my girlfriend, and we talk about films. And recently we did Dead Poets Society. And when I met Robin Williams, I had to talk to him about Dead Poets Society. And so part of my relationship with Robin Williams was poetry. We'd spend our mornings talking about poetry, our favorite poems and whatnot. And so I just shared on my TikTok recently, like this book of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass he gave me as a rap present. And he was a very big supporter of me writing and being a poet. And then I started a poetry venue in my living room 25 years ago called Dante's Poetry Lounge. And that poetry venue went from my living room to the sandwich shop, and packed. From the sandwich shop, my living room was packed. It was crazy. People just showed up when they weren't supposed to be there. It was crazy. It was too crazy. It was unsafe. And then to the theater, and it's been running now for, it's become DPL, the Poetry Lounge, and it was the inspiration which became Def Poetry Jam on HBO, which then went to Broadway and won a Tony, and it's still the largest weekly open mic venue in the country. And part of it is Robin Williams' inspiration, for sure. And then the poets out there like Bukowski and, things like Byron, Shakespeare, Whitman, Transcendental Poets. I loved all those guys. And then I got to be around the greatest spoken word artists in the world came through the venue in the last 20 years. And LA Times wrote an article about me and my crew as being the poets in the 90s that brought poetry back to LA after the beatnik era. And so, the inspiration for poetry is everything, man. Everything, and just growing up as an actor, I've been a part of so many people's stories, and I love being a part of other people's stories. And recently, I directed my first film, Fabulous Filipino Brothers, which I wrote, and I become a writer and a director in LA. Thank you. But all that for me started with poetry, because it was the first time in my life as an artist that I got to tell my story. I got to digest my life and how I see the world, and instead of being a character in other people's stories, I got to I got to tell some of my stories through poems. And so, I mean, we can edit. We have a few more seconds, so I'll just end on a few Avatar poems. Yeah?
Let's do it. All right.
Okay. A poem called Honor for something lost or misplaced, etched into your consciousness like a scar upon your face. This honor that you chase isn't always what you thought. Matter of fact, the fact that you always had it is the very reason why you set out to prove its existence from the start. Toph Bay Fung. So small but so strong, she moves mountains. Next time I go on a life-changing adventure, you're invited to come along. A poem for my friend who doesn't even bend, but his heart's as big as the rest of them. Plus, he always has my back. It makes me laugh because he's funny, and when his girlfriend turned into the moon, all I could say was, "That's rough, buddy." And then one last one, I guess, for the girl. Well, I just was Sutara week, so I ship Sutara even though it's not canon, because I'm a hopeless romantic. Some things are best left to be imagined.
Please, you guys, give a huge round of applause for Dante Basco right here, everybody. Now, you have a chance. So what's the question now?